gain more knowledge of China, Meg and I interviewed our Chinese language teacher, Mr. Cheng.
We have conducted a written and oral interview. This video is just the written interview.
In other words, in this video, we will be reading his answers to you.
In the next video, which will be the oral interview, you will get to hear him answer questions in his own voice.
The only text you will see on the screen is the question, and the pictures will be the response, accompanied by us reading the answer.
Here we go.
Question number 1. Can you talk about Chinese cuisine?
Chinese cuisine is a very important part of life in China, and no special occasion or family gathering is complete without sharing a meal. In my opinion, the most unique feature is the regional variety. There are 8 well-known distinct regional cuisines across China. For instance, Sichuan food, like hot pot, uses lots of chili, garlic, and peppercorns, while Guangdong food uses lots of seafood and rice dishes, and is sweet in flavor. The main factors resulting in these varied foods is local geography, local climates, and crops. In the ancient times, people in different areas didn't travel or immigrate frequently unless suffering from wars, disasters, or famines. Over time, these regional dishes and cooking techniques were passed on from generation to generation.
Question number 2. How would you describe American food?
When it comes to American food, I'd like to describe it as multicultural. In Los Angeles, where I visited last Thanksgiving, most of the foods there are the same as those in the New England region, such as burgers, spaghetti, and steaks. The majority of U.S. citizens are offspring from immigrants from Europe and other regions around the world. Long ago, settlers brought their native food and dwelled in the nation, which contributes to the diversity of American culture.
Question number 3. How would you describe the Chinese education system?
Chinese education is stricter than the American education system. An average high school student stays in school for about 10 hours a day. A large portion of the time is spent on taking classes and self-learning. Take the school which I work in as an example. It is a boarding school with dormitory buildings for students to live in. The daily routines are as follows. Getting up at 6 a.m., taking a 30-minute morning reading after breakfast. The first class starts at 7:30. There are 5 classes in the morning, 45 minutes for each. Students will have an hour break after lunch at 12. There are 3 classes in the afternoon, and then the school dismisses at around 4:30. After that, students are encouraged to work out or do what they want. However, it is not the end of the day. About 2.5 hours self-study is required in the evening to finish the homework and reflect. Students will go to bed at around 10 p.m. The courses taken are many different subjects like math, Chinese, foreign languages, physics, history, etc. Students get time to cultivate their own habits, although the time is limited. Overall, it is competitive in the schools. Some feel very pressured, but others regard this as motivation.
Question number 4. What was your reaction to our school, Meg and Elliot's school?
I couldn't believe my eyes at the first sight of your school's timetable. Students are dismissed at 2 o'clock, let alone the early release on Wednesdays. Students here have different options after school, engaging in various clubs or just go home with homework that some ignore. It's more free and comfortable than the typical Chinese school. Luckily, the educational reform is progressing in China, helping students get more freedom to choose what they pursue.
Question number 5. Can you compare an aspect of American and Chinese culture?
Cars are indispensable in American daily life. I once joked with the principal that I was poorer than the poverty because I didn't own a car here. When walking back home, I seldom came across walkers on the pavement. In China, people are encouraged to take public transportation. Buses get the specialized lane which other vehicles aren't allowed to enter. What impresses me the most here is that drivers abide by the traffic laws consciously. They will stop where they're supposed to stop when they notice the stop signs. Meanwhile, some Chinese drivers obey the regulation occasionally and get fined.
Question number 6. What are some stereotypes that Chinese people have about Americans?
My girlfriend said McDonald's comes to her mind when talking about the US. She also thought that Americans have soda, fried chicken wings, and pizza every day. In her eyes, many Americans are easygoing and open-minded, not picky about what they wear. Jeans are a favorite. As for me, the portrait of Uncle Sam is too classic to forget.
Question number 7. What is a fact that you really want people to know about China?
The fact about China that I want my American friends to know most is that my motherland is not an aggressive and bullying force around its borders. You'll find yourself regarded as a guest when you pay a visit to China. The information you obtain from books or the internet is not the complete truth. Most Chinese people are nice, hospitable, and willing to offer help. By the way, eating dog is definitely not a nationwide custom.
Question number 8. Can you discuss language a bit?
In my opinion, language is the key to the gate of an alien culture. For example, the counterpart to good morning in Mandarin is Zhao Shang Hao, whose literal meaning is morning good. It's not just a matter of sentence sequence. As a greeting, I think the word good means more in the phrase good morning, so it comes first. In Mandarin, however, the character hao, meaning good, ends the phrase. The difference of sequence reflects the different ways people think. In VOA or NPR News, we can see that the anchor will outline a piece of news briefly, then report it in detail. In contrast, lots of traditional Chinese articles will place the most important parts in the ending. Although not all the passages follow this pattern, it does prove something. According to my experience in foreign language learning, it's never easy to learn a foreign language. Practicing and building the vocabulary are long-lasting. Without doing the previous, success couldn't be achieved. It's also necessary to know about the taboos that belong to the country whose language you are learning.
Question number 9. Do you have any concluding thoughts?
When encountering some traditions or customs you don't know well, try to dig out the reasonable causes. Make connections and understand instead of neglecting or criticizing without research.
Thank you for letting us interview you.
Stay tuned for the second part of this interview.
And don't forget to subscribe!